Hello, hello. Welcome, everyone. This is Shield. Hope you're doing well. We are going to react today to what happened to Old London Bridge. Now, London Bridge still exists today. I should know. I was there and I walked over it a couple weeks ago. So it's still there. And it looks like we're there in this video. Jay Foreman's video right here. Watched a few of his videos already. Great content. Go subscribe to him. So I'm sure that, of course, this is very important to use the adjective old. The old London Bridge. The old London Bridge was a bustling community that lived on the bridge and was the only place in and out across the Thames for some time. Now there is the London Bridge is falling down song for children, and then there's the history, the geography situation with the only way in and out, and there's just so many different things that I don't know about the London Bridge. So today we're going to react to and listen to this video. You're new here though. Yeah, this channel is all about history, science, and learning. And I'm glad you're here today with me. So let's watch Jay Foreman's What Happened to Old London Bridge.
London Bridge called London Bridge. Why is London Bridge called London Bridge?
Because it's in London.
But there are lots of bridges in London.
London Bridge was the first.
But
Sure.
it looks really modern.
Because it was rebuilt.
Are there lots of really interesting things about London Bridge and its history and its future that unravel into a medium-sized documentary about the River Thames and its crossings in general?
Yes.
I love his content, man.
The River Thames is the reason London exists. Back in the year 43, the Romans
So Londinium.
chose this spot to build a bridge and found their city of Londinium, connected by road to the rest of Britain and by sea.
I love these maps too. It just shows you like the Forum, the amphitheater. It shows you just like a continuous Roman. In the architecture will evolve over time here. The architecture will evolve from the Roman architecture to more of a Anglo-Saxon, more Saxon architecture in the next couple hundred years as the migration happens.
Sea to the rest of the world.
While there's nothing physical left of the
And it looks like this every single day almost in London, I swear.
Roman Bridge itself, except this apparently, it's thanks to the Roman Bridge.
Hold on.
While there's nothing physical left of the Roman Bridge itself, except
I didn't know that. I missed that. I can't believe I missed that. Wow. That's cool. That's cool. That's one of the wood can survive if wood can survive under circumstances like this, and that's awesome.
this apparently, it's thanks to the Roman Bridge that modern London is where it is today. Here.
After the Romans left, various temporary
What is this? Is this City Skylines beta mode or alpha mode in 1999? I don't even know if City Skylines look like this in 99. So cool.
wooden bridges came and went on this site. Probably. But it wasn't until 1209 when along came
I mean, just look at this. Can you imagine living on a bridge? And if it's the only way in and out of London, you can imagine, if you live next to a highway, it's always stuff happening. You can't really sleep at night. It's loud. Imagine you live on the bridge where you got boats going under you, you got people and horses and just tons of commerce going in and out. It's just couldn't do it.
came a proper permanent one made of stone, and it was a corker.
Like many bridges in medieval Europe, London Bridge was a living bridge with shops, houses, a church, and tiny people made of plasticine.
The roadway was so narrow and the roofs on the buildings stuck out so far that the dark passageway felt almost like a tunnel. At its most congested, it could take an hour to get across.
An hour?
To manage congestion, the city corporation charged a toll to cross the bridge
Was this one of the first tolls of all time? Love to understand if that's true.
and ordered that all northbound traffic use the west side and all southbound use the east side. This may be the origin of why we now drive on the left in Britain.
I just checked and it isn't. One disappointing thing about the otherwise brilliant bridge was its dull name. But the reason for its dull name was quite interesting.
London Bridge was, for many centuries, the only bridge in London, which is surprising given how many thousands of people lived and worked on both sides of the river. So why was it like this for so long?
The Bridge House Estates, which ran London Bridge on behalf of the City of London Corporation, made a great deal of money from the tolls, and they were keen to keep it that way.
Bureaucracy.
In 1664, when King Charles II started making plans to build his own bridge over the Thames, the City Corporation persuaded him to forget about it with a free loan, open brackets, massive bribe, close brackets, of £100,000.
And this is just politics all throughout history. You see it to this day. Can you do something for me? I'll do something for you.
Despite the stronghold the City Corporation's strong held over the river, London got on absolutely fine with just the one bridge. Because, rather bizarrely, most Londoners never used it.
Really?
Unless you had a horse and cart full of heavy stuff, why bother using the expensive and slow London Bridge when you can simply hop on a wherry?
Wherries, pronounced wherries, were long, thin boats that could carry up to 5 people. The streets of London were so congested that a wherry was often the fastest way to get around town.
That's interesting.
Whether you needed to cross the
That's just like Venice, but very different.
river or not. The men who rowed the wherries, the watermen, were the taxi drivers of their day. They had to know the locations of all the stairs and the times when the tide came in and out. In their heyday, there were more than 10,000 of them on the river.
And so, London remained merrily monobridged throughout the 13th, 14th, 15th, 16th and 17th century. And that was fine by everybody. Until...
In 1720, the Prime Minister Robert Walpole was in a rush to get back to Westminster for an important debate in Parliament after visiting the King. When he arrived at the Fulham Horse Ferry, the watermen were having a pint on the opposite side of the river, and they refused to come across until they'd finished their drink. Walpole...
They wouldn't even... That shows you, like, how respected the PM was then, if that was a true story. It seems like a tall tale, but crazy.
missed the debate, and from that day declared war on the river.
This is all your fault! Walpole presented a bill to Parliament making the legislation to allow new bridges over the Thames for the first time, whether the City Corporation or the watermen liked it or not, which led to London finally getting its bridge number 2, right outside the Houses of Parliament.
Westminster Bridge.
Westminster Bridge opened in 1750, bringing London...
The most famous bridge for tourism, for sure. Even though London Bridge is not... I think London Bridge is like 3rd place now after the Tower Bridge. It has to be, right?
Bridge's centuries of monopoly to an end. Not everyone was happy about this. The City Corporation demanded compensation, so the Crown gave them compensation, which they used to get revenge on Westminster Bridge by building Blackfriars Bridge in 1769, giving Londoners a whopping 3 bridges to choose from.
Crossing by bridge had now become a lot easier and faster and more normal than crossing by wherry.
This was bad news for the watermen, who were already having a really tough time with the closure of the theatres on the South Bank. It was the beginning of the end for the wherries.
But amazingly, they never disappeared completely. Hundreds of years later, the company of watermen and lightermen is still around today, and they still stage a protest whenever a new bridge is proposed. How's that going for you? London was growing up, and it was time to say goodbye to the old-fashioned traditional things that were holding it back. And that included London Bridge itself.
Over the centuries, London Bridge had become a medieval relic that was far too narrow for 18th century traffic. The bridge needed a makeover.
So in 1761, to make a bit more room, the Bridge House Estates decided to remove the houses and shops from the bridge.
Wow, I wonder how that went in terms of buying that out, or did they just take it by force?
But it was no good. The structure was still a crumbling death trap that needed repairing every 5 minutes, as made famous in the nursery rhyme Humpty Dumpty. The whole thing had to
Humpty Dumpty, you know what you...
go.
On the bridge is falling down. That's what it means? Because it's crumbling and it's just deteriorating and never... Oh my.
And so, in 1831, Old London Bridge was replaced by New London Bridge, designed by a father and son team, both called John Rennie.
To avoid disruption and ease construction, New London Bridge was built slightly to the left of where the Old London Bridge was.
If you look carefully at a modern map, you can clearly see how the old streets line up to show exactly where the Old London Bridge used to be. London's bridgevolution was only just beginning. In the 19th century, with London's population swelling faster than ever on both sides of the river, new bridges were being thrown across the Thames one after the other like kerplunk. Bridges for people, horses, and these new things called trains too. London just couldn't get enough of them. Bridges, 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 bridges.
London Bridge wasn't special anymore. It blended in with all the others, getting on with its job in a no-nonsense sort of way.
After 130 years, which in London terms isn't really that long, London Bridge already found itself once again in a bit of a pickle.
By the 1960s, London had turned into a car city. To make room for all the commuters that wanted to
Wow. That right side is insane.
use it, London Bridge would need to at least triple in width.
The City Corporation once again had the expensive task of building a modern bridge in place of the old one. But the trouble was, in the 20th century, it was much harder to raise the huge amount of money needed for this sort of project. And so, they made the unusual but ingenious decision to put the Two Rennies Bridge up for sale.
Brochures and TV ads were produced, offering a unique piece of British history to the highest bidder. The highest bidder was American oil tycoon and chainsaw manufacturer Robert P. McCulloch.
Oh my god, wait, I heard about this. I heard about this. They put... This is in Texas now, right?
Who had the old London Bridge shipped across the Atlantic brick by brick and put back together in Lake Havasu City, Arizona,
Not Texas.
where it's become something of a tourist attraction.
There's a famously not true at all urban myth that McCulloch thought he was buying the much more famous and impressive Tower Bridge and bought the wrong bridge by
There's no way you're that bad at purchasing, and you screwed that up.
mistake. And that's where we get the expression, I bought the wrong bridge by mistake.
I don't think that's an expression.
Not all of London Bridge went to Arizona. These steps and this arch from the Rennies Bridge are still here and here today on the South Bank.
That looks like the tower, not right next to the Tower Bridge, but next to Tower of London.
Whilst it's great that some of the Rennies Bridge has been kept alive, its modern replacement is a structure best described as a shame.
The necessary rebuild of London Bridge in the late 60s coincided with a flash-in-the-pan fashion for brutalist functional architecture. New London Bridge, completed in 1973, is a wide, grey concrete slab devoid of even the slightest hint of its rich history. It's impressive for the sheer amount of nothing there is to say about it.
With London Bridge getting more boring every century, the next one, coming in 2182, will likely be made entirely of beige jumpers. Yep, I think that's everything I can think of about London Bridge, but London does of course have many more bridges, and there are lots of interesting things to say about them too. So if you're not busy, join me next time for another thrilling instalment of Unfinished London. When I want to access the internet from another...
Wow. I think that's it, right? Let's just make sure. Yeah, it's a 2-minute ad. Wow. Wow. Oh, okay. Okay. So, couple things. First, London Bridge Part 2 is in Arizona. There's a piece of wood, perhaps from the medieval London Bridge. It's a little bit more left than the original. Yeah, I think that's it. I think that's what we got. Interesting video, yeah. Not, as exciting as some people may think when they hear London Bridge. But the Tower Bridge will do everything for you if you just go over there. But yeah, guys, thank you guys so much for watching. I implore you to hit that subscribe button. I'll see you guys next time. Peace out. Bye-bye.